Ladies and gents, it's Pete Thorne. Welcome to the studio. Hey, there's been a trend lately, a trend towards preamps and amp-like pedals on pedal boards, and this is one of those. This is from KSR, and this is the Vesta 3-channel preamp. So the vibe with this guy is that you would put it on a pedal board, I think, and then either take the output and run into a tube or solid-state power amp and a guitar cabinet, or you could take the output and run into some speaker simulation and maybe go direct. So you could use it to record that way. You could also use it live straight to a PA. This kind of replaces your amplifier. It's not an overdrive pedal per se. I mean, I guess you could run it in front of an amplifier, try and run it into a neutral amp, but really it's meant to be run into a power amplifier or direct with some speaker simulation. So for like a pedal board based rig. And you've got 3 channels on there, a simple clean channel here, as well as 2 overdrive channels that are meant to replicate famous amps of the 80s and 90s. I'm not sure exactly what amps they were going for, but I'm gonna guess that it's probably Marshall and Soldano. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. The third dirtier channel, the dirtiest of the bunch, it's real fat sounding, real saturated, although you can do lower gain with it too, but that's where it really lives. And it just has this kind of like SLO kind of thing going on. And then the second channel has just a little bit more of a Marshall voice to it. It sounds like an 800 or a modded 800 or something. Full tone stack in there with bass, middle, and treble, as well as these different voicing switches that let you kind of switch to different modes. Mode kind of changes up the gain structure, really. You got a switch labeled feel, and that really kind of changes how tight or full and a little bit looser the pedal is. And then you also got a bright switch for each of those 2 overdrive channels. And then this is the clean channel here. It's just a volume and a tone. There's this 3-way toggle as well, labeled clean, TB, that stands for true bypass, or buffer. More on that in just a little bit, because there's a way that you can actually just totally disable the clean channel and not have it active and use the pedal essentially as true bypass when it would normally be on the clean channel, or just a buffer. Now, as far as the channels go, I'm just going to plug it in for a sec here because I want you to see the lights when it powers up here. You can see this KSR logo powers up. And if you've got the clean channel active, what's going to happen is it's going to show green, okay, when you're on the clean channel. Then this foot switch right here is going to take you between that clean channel, these 2 knobs, and then over to the dirty side. Okay, so if I push that, now it's lighting up blue, right? And that's this second channel right here. If I push the toggle switch right here on the right, that's gonna now go purple. That's the 3rd channel down here. So long story short, button on the left takes you between clean and either of the 2 dirty channels. And the button on the right takes you between the 2 different dirty channels, either the blue channel or the purple channel. Now, if you've got the pedal mounted in a rack drawer, some people might do that, you've got a control switch here, or a control jack, I should say, that allows you to plug in a cable in there, and then you can remotely switch using like a pedal board switcher or using like a rack mount switcher or some sort. So for my video, and for all the parts on that song at the beginning of the video, I did a couple different things. I ran the output of the unit into my Fryette power station back there and used it as a power amp. And then I ran into my old Marshall cabinet in the other room and recorded some sounds that way. That's the way I did the clean guitars as well as the heavy rhythm guitars on the song at the beginning of the video. All the lead stuff I actually cut direct, okay? So coming out of the output straight into my recording interface and then using a few plugins for speaker simulation. I also used a few pedals, and so I'll detail that stuff in a little bit here, because I was running into my pedal board, out on my pedal board into the unit, For the rhythm guitars and stuff, I wasn't using any pedals, but once I got into leads and stuff, I just started hitting it with boosts and stuff, and you know, kind of pretending like it was an amp, and I was going to hit it, you know, with a pedal to boost it for solos and stuff, and I even used like a vibe style effect and some other stuff. So I'll detail that in a little bit. I figured that was fair game because I wanted to, number one, get some different tones on that song at the beginning, but also that's probably what you would do if you had this thing on a pedal board, is hit it with some boosts, you know, run it with some echo and, you know, some vibe and different stuff, right? Because it's supposed to kind of be like an amp. So that's what I did. Okay, so let's get into it some more here. It's the Vesta 3-channel preamp from KSR. Okay, so I just cut the first two parts in the song at the beginning of the video, which is clean guitar parts as well as one of the dirty rhythm guitars. And I wanted to show you the tones that I got so far. This little switch right here lets you engage a buffer, or it can be true bypass, or it can be a clean channel when you're in this green mode. So in other words, you can just pass through the unit, either true bypass or with a buffered bypass, or you can switch in kind of a clean channel, essentially a preamp circuit, and you got a tone control here and a volume control for that. So let me show you what I mean. So if I just set this switch to true bypass, essentially now the pedal's off. And you're hearing my guitar pass through my pedal board, straight through to the Preamp Power Station power amp that I'm using for a power amp in this video, straight through to the cabinet. So it'd be like plugging into the effect return on an amp. No tone shaping, right? I'm already buffered because I'm running into my pedal board, which has a buffer on it, and then I'm coming into this. There's no effects on the pedal board or anything, just the buffer. So when I switch the buffer in, you're probably not going to hear anything. Maybe just a little bit, actually. And then if I hit the clean channel, now what it's going to do is it's going to turn on the preamp circuit in the pedal, okay? And you're going to see this switch to green, and now you're going to hear a big difference in tone. Okay, so that's how I cut the first guitar part in the track at the beginning of the video, was with that clean channel on. So once again, if I switch that off and you just hear what it sounds like passing through the unit, really flat with no tone shaping or anything. And as soon as we turn on that clean channel, now you get a nice sort of real crystal clean kind of, you know, like twin reverb type clean sound. Okay, now if I hit this switch, it's going to switch me over to this channel right here, kind of the channel 2 of the Vesta, and this is the sound that I used to cut the first dirty rhythm guitar part in the song. Okay, just really cool, you know, really heavy, great sounding tone, I think. Now, I've got this feel switch here set in kind of the tightest setting, but I can get even more low end out of the pedal, at maybe the expense of some tightness if I try the different positions. This up position sounds really good to me too. So I think what I'm going to do now is actually dial in the tone just ever so slightly different for a double. I'll hard pan those in the track, and that's what you will have already heard because this is going to the past right now watching this video. But anyways, so I'll have one of the tracks with a little bit more beef to it and the other one with this kind of super tight setting, but that sounds really good. I've got the mid scooped out a little bit. And I've actually got the bass a little below half, so maybe I'll bring all of that up for the second guitar part. Just go for a little more beef in the double. Bring the bass up a little bit, maybe try that other setting on the switch. So I just cut the first two lead guitar parts in the song at the beginning of the video, the real gainy stuff, and I'm on the purple channel. I got the gain cranked, but I've got the mode switch here kind of in the one step down position. Subtle when the chords ring, but when the switch is down, it's got a little less gain than when it's in the middle. But I just did that and then cranked the gain all the way up. I got the bass down on about 1030. I got the mids up a bit, treble up a bit, and yeah, the sound is basically this. Hugging rock and roll. Actually, for the second solo, hit it with a screamer as well. So I was cheating a little bit, but you guys are going to do that anyway. You stack pedals like crazy out there. Don't tell me you don't. So that sounds like this. Tons of gain with the pedal on. So I've got an 808 style pedal on my board, and I hit it with that. Probably could have just put the switch in the more gain position or whatever, but I just at the last minute I hit the pedal and it sounded good. So there you go. So for this sound, I'm actually running direct. I'm coming out of the pedal and going right into my interface. And then what I did was I called up a PT100 plug-in and I turned off the amplifier part of it. And I'm only using the speaker sim, so because the PT100 plug-in from Brainworks has some really nice speaker sims in it. So essentially I'm running through like a model of a 212 cabinet, my signature Sir cabinet, with two G12H 75 creambacks in it, and it's mic'd with a ribbon mic and a 57. That's what you're hearing, is just direct right into an IR and then going straight into Logic. So sounds really cool. So I wanted to do some sounds through the cabinet and the power amp and some sounds direct, and this is a direct one. Okay, so I just cut the last lead in the song, which is the spacey kind of atmospheric section at the end. And for this I went back to the second channel on the Vesta, and I brought the gain way down. I'm using the lower gain mode. And you know what, I just went for it on this by adding some effects. I know that you guys probably want to hear it in isolation, and I'll take the effects off now so that you can just hear what the tone sounds like. So just kind of like medium gain Marshall, right? With no effects or anything. But I just wanted to have fun with it, and it was that kind of part. So for the music, I had to add some stuff. So I'm using a Vibe, and this was the Vibe from a Mobius. So it's not a real Vibe, but anyway. And I also added my Sir Woodshed compressor in front, because that sounded really good. And then I added a little bit of Echoplex delay, too, in front to get the... And I just thought that stuff all sounded really good in front of it. So I'm using it like an amp. I mean, I'm showing you kind of what it sounds like, adding some pedals. And then I added some more echo and stuff in the mix, so, you know, to flush it out. But you're hearing what it sounds like right now. And this is direct. Once again, I'm running out of this... straight into my interface, and then I'm actually using a Get Good Drums IR loader on the channel in Logic, and I've got a Celestion IR pulled up of a 412 cabinet with greenbacks with a 57 and a 121 on it, and then I've also got a couple of room mics, so a little bit of, you know, room mics. So showing what it sounds like using it as a direct recording preamp going into your interface in this instance. Thanks for watching my video on the Vesta 3-channel preamp from KSR, designed to be on a pedal board, but kind of replace an amp, really. So for like a total pedal board based rig, you can either run it direct by adding some speaker simulation, go straight to a PA or into a recording interface, or you can take the output and go into a power amp, either tube or solid state, and maybe run some guitar cabinets. You can check it out further at the link in the video description below. Click there, it'll take you to more info about the Vesta from KSR. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You'll get an alert when I put out new videos. Folks, thanks for watching. I am Pete Thorne. Take care. Over and out.